In this video, we talk about human heart and the life starts. The human heart begins to form and pump the blood during the fourth and fifth week of the embryonic development. The earliest cluster of the cells, which are the cardiac cells, fuse into a single heart tube by the week 4. The Greek word cardia means heart. And how can we define the heart? The hollow muscular organ responsible for pumping the blood to the human body through blood vessels by repeated contractions is called human heart. The shape of human heart is conical. The size is just equal to that of a closed fist. Cardiac muscles. These muscles are specialized muscles and they are involuntary in nature. That makes up the walls of the heart. The primary function of the heart is to pump the blood throughout the body through the circulatory system to meet the metabolic demands of the body. Heart has three layers. Number one is epicardium, that is the outer layer of the heart. Then the myocardium, it is the thick middle layer of the heart and it is made up of cardiac muscles. And the third one is endocardium, and this is the smooth inner layer of the heart. Pericardium and pericardial fluid. Human heart is protected by pericardium, a thin, tough, transparent sac enclosing the heart. Pericardial fluid is a fluid between epicardium and pericardium. It is a lubricating fluid that reduces the friction between the pericardium and the heart during the heart contractions. If we take a closer look, see here that the epicardium, it has a layer above it which is known as the pericardial fluid, and that pericardial fluid is enclosed between pericardium and epicardium. So this is the body fluid, that is the pericardial fluid, which helps the heart not to overextend and also reduces the friction. The heart is present inside a cavity called mediastinum. This is the exact location of heart inside the human body. It is tilted towards the left and it is present just in the center. Here we can see that in humans, the heart lies between the lungs, behind the breastbone, that is known as sternum. Aorta is the biggest artery, leaves the heart, and vena cavas enter into the heart. The coronary vessels are there. These are the vessels which are used to provide the blood to the heart muscle. This is the mediastinum, where the heart is present between the lungs and above the diaphragm. The outer structure of the heart is like this, and if we use to remove the pericardium and cut the heart into sections, then it will be look like this. Septum. Internally, the heart is divided by a vertical partition called septum into two halves, the right and the left, to keep the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood separated. The septum between the two auricles is known as interatrial septum, and between the two ventricles is interventricular septum. Heart consists of four chambers, two atria and two ventricles. The top thin walled receiving chambers of the heart are called atria. The two top chambers are right and left atrium. They receive the blood entering the heart. The bottom chambers are called ventricles. The bottom chambers are large, thick walled, distributing chambers of the heart. The bottom chambers are right and left ventricles, and the function is to pump the blood out of the heart. Thickness of heart chambers. The thickness of walls of the chambers is different depending upon their function. The atria have comparatively thin wall and they have to force the blood into the ventricles and this does not require much power. On the other hand, the ventricles have to pump the blood out of the heart, hence they have relatively thick walls, especially the left ventricle, which has to pump the blood to the whole body. The right ventricle has thinner wall and the wall of the left ventricle is 3 times more muscular than that of the right ventricle. The heart valves. The thin walled, fibrous flap of tissue which prevent the backward flow of blood are called heart valves. The heart has 4 valves, which separate the top chambers from the bottom chambers. Types. There are 2 types of valves: atrioventricular valves and semilunar valves. The atrioventricular valves are tricuspid valves and bicuspid valves. Tricuspid valve, these are present between the right atria and right ventricle. It has 3 cusps or flaps. Bicuspid valve, these are present between the left atria and left ventricle. It has 2 cusps or flaps. Semilunar valves. These valves separate the ventricles from the large blood vessels that carry blood leaving the heart. These include pulmonary semilunar valves and aortic semilunar valves. Pulmonary semilunar valves are present between the right ventricle and pulmonary trunk. It carries blood to the lungs and prevents its backward flow towards the heart. Then aortic semilunar valve that is present between the left ventricle and aorta and it carries the blood to the body and prevents its backward flow. Each ventricle contains cone-shaped muscular pillars called papillary muscles. These muscles are attached by thin, strong connective tissue strings called chordae tendineae to the cusps of the atrioventricular valves. The papillary muscles contract when the ventricles contract and prevent the valves from opening into the atria by pulling on the chordae tendineae attached to the valve's cusps. Circulation of deoxygenated blood. The deoxygenated blood from the head, neck, and arms is returned to the right atrium by superior vena cava. The deoxygenated blood from the lower body parts is brought back by the inferior vena cava. When the right atrium contracts, the blood flows into the right ventricle through the tricuspid valve. When the right ventricle contracts, the blood pressure closes the tricuspid valve. This prevents the backward flow of blood into the atrium. The blood leaves the right ventricle by pulmonary trunk. The pulmonary trunk divides into 2 pulmonary arteries, one to each lung. Return of blood into the ventricles is prevented by semilunar valves in the pulmonary trunk. Circulation of oxygenated blood. Oxygenated blood from the lungs is brought back to the heart through the pulmonary veins, which open into the left atrium. When the left atrium contracts, the blood enters the left ventricle through the bicuspid valve. When the left ventricle contracts, the blood leaves by the large artery, the aorta. From aorta, the blood is distributed to all parts of the body except lungs. Aorta also has semilunar valves which prevent the backward flow of blood into the left ventricle. circulation of blood through heart. Human heart acts as a double pump. It receives deoxygenated blood from the body and pump it to the lungs. At the same time, it receives oxygenated blood from the lungs and pump it to the whole body. Inside human heart, the two types of blood kept separate and never mix. The atria receive blood and the ventricles distribute it. There are two very important nodes in heart. One is SA node, which is known as sinoatrial node, and the other one is known as AV node, which is atrioventricular node. Pacemaker, a specialized patch of muscles in the walls of right atrium which initiate the contraction of the heart muscles is called pacemaker of the heart. It is often called SA node or sinoatrial node. The heart muscles are myogenic, that these are naturally contract and relax and do not need to receive impulses from the nerves to make them contract. There is another specialized group of cardiac muscles called atrioventricular node, or we can say it AV node. It is present near the junction of right atrium and right ventricle. The AV node is connected to a strand of specialized muscles which are known as atrioventricular bundle. This bundle passes through a small opening in the fibrous skeleton to reach the interventricular septum, where it divides to form right and left bundle branches, which extend beneath the endocardium on either side of the interventricular septum to the apex of the right and left ventricles, respectively. Lub dub is a continuous characteristic sound of the heart. This characteristic sound, lub dub, is produced by snapping shut of the valves to direct the blood flow. The lub sound is produced when the tricuspid and bicuspid valves are closed, and dub sound is produced when the semilunar valves, that is, pulmonary and the aortic valves, shut down. Doctors and medical specialists use the stethoscope to hear the lub dub sound of the heart. If we do exercise, our heart rate increases. The relaxation of the chambers of the heart, that is known as diastole, and the contraction of the heart chambers is known as systole. The electric impulses that passes through the conduction system of the heart during the cardiac cycle can be recorded as an electrocardiogram or ECG. The electrical changes results from the depolarization and repolarization of the cardiac fibers and can be detected on the surface of the skin using an instrument called electrocardiograph. The principal aspects of ECG are the wave deflection, designated P, QRS, and T wave. These are produced as specific events of the cardiac cycle. The QRS complex indicates the depolarization of the ventricles. During this interval, the ventricles are in systole and the blood is being ejected from the heart. Heart rate and heartbeat. The number of times the heart beats per minute is called heart rate. During rest in normal activities, The average heart rate in males is about 70 times per minute and in females 75 times per minute. Heart from the birth to the last breath is our faithful partner. So let us pause in awe and praise for countless blessings all our days. This wondrous heart, so finely planned, reflects the art of Allah's hand. Thank you for watching, like it, and subscribe it.